Hello everyone. V3 Sirene is finally out, and wow, right? That for sure permanently changed a lot of my polling plans on my accounts. So, I want to update you guys on what my current thought process is for all three of my HSR accounts, including my free-to-play one. So, let's start off with the one I'm on right now, which is my main account with my E2 Phanon. This one, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. However, now that I've seen what Sirene can do, what she can offer, I've decided to kind of go a different route, right? You guys know, I've basically neglected investing into my day for a very, very long time at this point. I've gotten him E2S1, yes. However, after this, I basically completely ignored getting any type of AoE support for him, and this has led to my day underperforming a lot, way more than he should at E2S1, because I cared more about pulling new DPSs, right? However, after these Sirene changes, I think I am just coming, to the conclusion that I am seriously considering pulling E1 Tribby whenever she reruns. Now, yes, Sirene is technically stronger than Tribby for my day as of current, if what people are saying is correct out there. But E1 Tribby is simply way more universal and already very strong, and specifically with E1 My Day, E1 Tribby becomes a lot bigger of a damage jump in AoE scenarios such as Pure Fiction, which is where my Day is usually weakest, right? So I do want to take full advantage of my Day in all endgame modes, so that does make me want to get Tribby, and as well, I simply also want to start finally using my Hyacine that I also basically impulse pulled in 3.3 because I thought she'd be, this game-changing character that I could really take good advantage of, but I slowly realized she really isn't anything all that great at E0 as 0, because for me specifically, once again, I don't have Tribby, I don't have Ruan Mei, there's no general AoE buffer on my account except for Robin, who buffs attack, so using Hyacine and Robin as an AoE support doesn't really buff Hyacine's damage all that much, right? So this will give me a reason to finally build that E0 Hyacine I had, and to finally pull on E1 Tribby, which just in general is a very good value support, right? Even if, let's say, she gets power crept in early version 4 for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter, because I can then just put her in my Phanon sustainless team, and it's like, you know what? W, right? I get true damage to one enemy for Phanon, who has bounce attacks in AoE scenarios. That will be very fucking strong, especially cough cough Pure Fiction. So yeah, I can't really complain about it. So yeah, that's the current poll plan for this account. Just grab E1 Tribby whenever she reruns, build my Hyacine a little more, and then run my E2 Phanon and E2 My Day as my main DPS teams. Now, let's talk about my Anaxa account. You guys know my entire polling plan for Anaxa went to shit. I basically gambled on the fact that I would think wrong and that they'd keep the Sirene buff for Anaxa in the game, because even though it was the most insane buff, it still wasn't making Anaxa game breaking as compared to something like the Cassie team, right? But unfortunately, my judgment was correct. They don't really want the side character to get that strong of a buff to the point where they can compete with the main push anniversary character. And I mean, the buff just got absolutely fucking massacred for main DPS Anaxa, right? So, unfortunately, I will probably still try to get E6 Anaxa, despite how unlikely that is, because, man, I really fucked up pulling for E1 Archer. I was really banking on Sirene's buff staying the same. The fact they got nerfed this hard, it hurts so bad, right? But at the end of the day, it is an E4 Anaxa, so even if I'm not able to get his E6, it doesn't affect me too much, because it just means I'll be guaranteed for the upcoming Elation characters, which, to be honest, I'm completely fine with that, right? At the end of the day, I have E1 Triby, I have Sunday, I have an E4 Anaxa. It's not like clearing endgame content is exactly going to be very difficult for me when I'm running a team comp like that, and upcoming Dan Heng, who is free, makes the Sunday synergy and sustain Anaxa teams even better than it was before. So I'll just take it at the end of the day, right? But Anaxa account, not completely sure on who I'm going to be pulling upcoming. It's going to depend on the drip markets, the strength of characters. I don't think I'll pull Constance unless Hanabi ends up being break, which I think is doubtful, because I remember the leakers saying that Constance is targeted towards Firefly and that the Elation characters are going to have nothing to do with break. So we'll see how that goes, right? Now we have my Cassie account. Now, Sirene's value did slightly increase on my Cassie account for the Cassie plus Evernight team, as the buff to Evernight has now been changed to give more of a crit damage buff towards all Memo Sprites on the team. So everybody does more damage except Evernight, who gets slightly a bit of her own damage nerfed. But I'm pretty sure E1 Triby, the same thing happening with my Phanon account, she is probably stronger than Sirene currently, and because of the nerf to Sirene's Lycone, even E0S1 Sirene probably also loses to E1 Triby. So I would rather pull the support who isn't tied to Chrysos Heirs for their support value and is somehow stronger for the specific, team comp of Cassie Evernight, especially with me who has E2 Evernight, where it's everybody doing insane amounts of damage. I would just rather get E1 Triby, right? Sirene is a very, very confusing beta, I have to say. I don't really understand what it is that they're trying to go for with this character currently. Of course, it's only V3. There's a few more versions before, we go into the official live version. But at V3, the base, right, the blueprint should already be kind of down. And after this, it's usually number changes most of the time. So if this is the kit that is probably going to make it to live similarly, then a lot of Amphorius characters, Amphorius DPS's, Chrysos Heirs, don't really want Sirene at all, right? And I just don't think there's going to be a big fix for that unless they finally cave in and make her beginning ult much easier to achieve without needing to go into Eidolons for it. Because even this Sirene buff that helps the Herda still probably doesn't replace Triby's value, or the fact that Triby's E1 is way more fucking disgusting for Herda's team as compared to any vertical investment that you can put on Sirene. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big flop of a character currently, and it's hard for me to believe that Hoyo is looking at this kit of hers and going, yeah, she's fine, right? She really isn't. She has a lot of flaws. For a lot of Amphorius DPSs, she's either only a slight buff, sometimes even a nerf for a few teams. It's even possible that she could be a nerf for Anaxa's team now, with how badly they massacred his main DPS buff. And it just doesn't make any sense to invest into this character at all, unless you want to play her main DPS. And that's basically it, in my opinion. because that's what most of this beta accomplished, was massively increasing her main DPS and also increasing her Eidolon value, not only in terms of buffing and recollection stacking, but also, once again, with her main DPS capability. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Sirene down in the comments. Does this V3 change any of your polling plans at all out there? I had someone in my comments ask me a few videos back whether or not to get Sirene or go straight into E1 for Evernight for the Cassie comp or whatever. And I have to say, at this point, my friend, if you're still watching this video, just pull E1 Evernight. Sirene is just nowhere near the value that E1 Evernight gives to both Evernight's main DPS and as well as her sub DPS with Cassie. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Good luck with any of your pulls, and peace out.